Hello. Today we are starting on a big mood reading project and a random pick my TBR kind of project. And this is something I've been wanting to do, something you guys have requested from me, so we are finally doing it, and that is my cats are going to pick my TBR. So I am going to do a random pull of, I think, 8 books that kind of sound good to me from my physical TBR shelf over here. I'm gonna pick those, and then I'm going to let my cats each pick 2 books for me. So there will be a total of 4 books picked out of the 8 total possibilities, and I think that this should be super fun. We will see what Hastings and Marple have in store for me. If you guys don't know, I have 2 kitty cats. They are a brother and sister. They look like twins. They are nearly identical. I can tell them apart, obviously, because I'm their mom, but they look very similar, and they are obviously named after 2 of my favorite characters in the Agatha Christie canon. Captain Arthur Hastings is the boy, and Miss Jane Marple is the girl, and I love them so much. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I'm obsessed with these cats. I rescued them. And I had to work very hard to get their trust. So the fact that they love me just makes me so happy. So anyway, we will see what they pick for me, and I'm really excited. I think that this should be a lot of fun. So let's get into the vlog. Okay, so I've got my first batch of 4 books. Now I need to get the treats on there and entice the kitties to come eat the treats. So let's see how this goes. I'm gonna put a treat on each book, and whatever the first 2 they pick are the 2 that will be their selections. So we've got some middle grade mystery, we've got some YA mystery, we've got some nonfiction, and we got some YA fantasy. So let's put the treats on and see what they choose for the first batch. Who would like a treat? Who would like a treat? Okay, Hastings has picked Dolly Parton. Okay, come on. Marple, which one do you want? Come on, Marple, which one do you want? Okay, so we've got this one. Marple, look, there's a treat in these places. Do you smell it? Good girl, good job. Okay. So these are our first 2 picks. Okay, this is Marple's first pick. This is Hastings' first pick. And then these are our next 4. Who would like a treat? Excellent choice. Okay. Okay, Hastings, what do you want to pick? Good job! Okay, good picks, guys. Okay, for being such good kitties, you get another treat. Hey, Marple, come here. Good job, guys. Okay, so then Marple's second pick is In a Dark, Dark Wood, and Hastings' pick is Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn. So I think it is interesting that they did not pick the same spots twice, but Marple definitely is a mystery lover. I mean, that makes sense given her namesake. She definitely loves a mystery. Whereas Hastings, he went for a little bit of a speculative romance, and then he also, picked a nonfiction book for Dolly Parton. So I think for both of these, what we can surmise is that Hastings, like his namesake, has a thing for strong women, and Marple, like her namesake, has a thing for mysteries. So these are our kitty picks, and we will we will go from there. I'm excited. Good job, guys. See, Marple also approves of Hastings' choice. She immediately went over when I set this down, so. Marple, you like it too, don't you? Yeah. Good girl. You're such a good girl. You my sweet baby. Yeah. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and dive into this because I am definitely in the mood to read this afternoon, and something short and I'm hoping kind of uplifting. I think we'll hit the spot. Okay, I'm done. This made me cry several times. I just love Dolly so much. And I thought this was an incredibly thoughtful way to talk about her biography, but also her cultural influence and the way that she was and is a product of the culture she came out of and also the culture she helped to create. I don't know, this was really thoughtfully written. Sarah Smarsh, I've read her memoir Heartland, and that was also really well observed. And this ties in Dolly Parton's biography also into Sarah Smarsh's experience from the rural Midwest and her experiences of poverty and her family's experiences of poverty. And I don't know, Dolly definitely hits a very tender place in my heart because she comes from she's from East Tennessee, which is where my family is from. And she grew up in the same area as my dad, who also grew up in poverty, and actually my uncle dated Dolly Parton, or at least took her on a few dates. They were from the same area, so I think this just hits a very tender spot in my heart in terms of really connecting with where my dad came from, and on a much smaller scale, obviously, but really just relating to, people who kind of made good coming out of that area where there is just very limited resources, and it's hard to pull oneself out of poverty. And I think especially for Dolly, just as being a woman, kind of what she represents to feminism, I thought that exploration was really interesting. Just overall, it was very tender, and I thought I would read to you kind of one of the summary, kind of concluding paragraphs, because I thought it was very, very moving and summarizes well why Dolly is so special and why she continues to have such cultural resonance. It says, "She is thus a woman of paradoxes, someone who acts trashy and has more class than most, someone who dresses, quote, like a hooker and is a family-oriented self-proclaimed homebody, a giggly blonde who is smarter than her male employees, a little girl who got out by singing about the place she left, a Christian who acts like, well, a true Christian, a woman of extraordinary depth who came into the world named after a toy doll, a term of endearment that also suggests an inhuman object created for someone else's pleasure. If I got any charm at all, it's that I look like a total phony, but I'm totally real," Parton told Cineste in 1990. "That's my magic. She's a rare sort of icon, at once a sex symbol like Marilyn Monroe, creative genius like Loretta Lynn, and a philanthropic juggernaut like Oprah Winfrey. Meanwhile, Parton performs herself, and if she is a whore, well, she is also the pimp, turning herself out, and the John enjoying it." I don't know, this was totally delightful. So Hastings, you did a very good job of making mommy happy on the Sunday afternoon.
Very pretty. Well, so do you. Well, just for that compliment, I'm going to give you the money. Do you want to hold on to this? This is some extra money from the fund where we had 6 months. I promised that I would give you money every month, and we had some extra money as a surprise. So there's $5,000 for a bonus check. Okay?
I got 5 words for you. I will always love you.
Oh! You don't mind if I kiss it, do you? So that'll help out with whatever your needs are. So we're just happy that our 6 months is up, and we thought, well, this would be a nice little surprise that you get a little extra.
My family thanks you very much.
You're very welcome. So I'm just happy that it's worked out. So, all right, so spend it wisely. But anyway, I'm just
Nobody
happy
but you would be so kind and generous.
I'm sure nearly anybody up here would do that. These are good people.
This is a wonderful start to this project. I'll see how we do with the other 3. Alrighty, well, Hastings' first pick was so successful. It was such a resounding success. I decided it's the next day and I'm gonna go ahead and dive into one of Marple's picks. So this is The Fixer, which I believe is like a YA suspense adventure kind of thing. I think the teen in question helps her sister runs some sort of like fixer agency in DC, so if like politicians get in trouble, they, you know, intervene and try to make that problem go away. So this is an early Jennifer Lynn Barnes, who is my favorite YA mystery author, so I have pretty high hopes for this, and fingers crossed that it is as successful as our first outing was. So apparently I just need to let my cats pick my TBR all the time, because this is a 5-star read, and I don't know, I wonder if some of it is that I picked books I thought sounded good. I did this yesterday. I read one book yesterday, I read another book today. So maybe this is somewhat having to do with my mood for the books that I picked for them to pick from being so aligned, but it's possible that I could have been in the mood to read this and it ended up being crappy, and it wasn't. It was awesome. I loved this. There is a sequel that I 100% need to read, and okay, so YA mystery thriller that I honestly felt like was darker than I expected. I don't know why I didn't expect that, given that I've read the Naturals series from her, which also can get pretty dark at times. For a YA thriller, I thought this kind of like, in terms of the subject matter, went there. Tonally, it's not like reading Sadie or like something from Courtney Summers. It doesn't feel that heavy, but if you look on page what is happening, it's pretty intense. I do want to give a specific warning for child abuse, so just FYI there. But this, I told you guys what the premise was. There's a girl who ends up going to live with her sister in DC, and her sister is a fixer. And imagine like YA version of Scandal kind of a thing. And I don't think you should know anything else. What I will tell you is that one of the twists I was pretty clear on from the jump, because Jennifer Lynn Barnes has done this in several of her books. Also, just like if you've read some YA things, that it's just a thing that happens pretty frequently. But I was impressed that she twisted what I thought the twist was, so that was good. I really liked where this ended up, and I just really love the characters and the character dynamics in this. I really love our main character, Tess. She won my heart with something she did on her first day of school at her new school. I was like, Tess, you are a BAMF, and I'm here for it. So from then on, I was way into Tess. I really love her friendships that she develops, especially with Vivi. Vivi is also just precious to me. I thought she had a really interesting journey with her sister. Like, I really liked the way that was characterized. I liked where the mystery went. I also appreciated, I will say this, I was worried that she was gonna end up being like a fixer just in her high school kind of a thing, and I thought that was gonna be a little bit weak sauce, and that is not where it goes. So I was glad about that. Overall, I loved this. I cannot wait to read the next one. I'm gonna order it. And Marple is winning because I give this 5 stars. This is one of my favorite YA thrillers I've ever read. I don't know why I'm so surprised by that, since I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes, but facts are facts, and I just love this. So Marple has pulled ahead of Hastings, but they are both performing very well in this competition. I don't know. I feel bad pitting my children against each other, but Marple technically is winning, but they are both performing to their mother's expectations. So, they don't have to deal with like their mother's disapproval and having to process that in therapy in 10 years. So that's good at least. Anyway, big hit here, and we'll check back in when I get in the mood to read. What are the 2 I have left? I have The Heroine Complex by Sarah Kuhn, and then In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. So whenever I get in the mood to read one of those, I will crack that open, and we'll just keep on chugging along here. Alrighty, so I am on to In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Definitely not my favorite of the things I've been reading for this challenge, for sure. So far, this is definitely my least favorite, but Ruth Ware just has like a super nice writing style. And I always, like, no matter what the book is so far, at least I'm finding this is my 3rd book from her, I just like the way she tells a story. So I really like her writing style and sort of her sensibilities. So I'm enjoying that in this book. I'm not gonna say that I'm loving the actual trope combo. So the setup for this is that our main character, Nora, she gets invited to a Hindu, which is a bachelorette in the UK. In the US, we would call that a bachelorette. In the UK, it's your hen party or your Hindu. And it's for her school friend, Claire, who she's not seen in 10 years. And Claire, she's getting married and she invites her kind of like out of the blue to this bachelorette party. And it's gonna be like a weekend thing. And Nora is very apprehensive about it. She like left school very suddenly and like hasn't really talked to anyone since then. She had this very like intense, tragic, whatever situation with her high school boyfriend, James. And so like that's a big piece of this. And yeah, so I would say I've got like a third of it left probably. Good, not great, but this is her debut and I do think it's a really strong debut so far. So we'll see. We'll see how things kind of wrap up if she's got like a big twist or turn. But so far this is like enjoyable. I enjoy reading a Ruth Ware book pretty much no matter what so far. So this is actually making me think that I will seek out the rest of her backlist, even the ones that were not as appealing to me in their premise, just because my thought is it seems like I kind of just like whatever she writes. So I think that's a good piece of data, if nothing else. So let me finish this up and then we'll catch up later. Okay, so actually last night and this morning I finished this whole challenge up. So I did finish off In a Dark, Dark Wood last night, and I think my opinion pretty much still stands. Hey, Marple. So it's good. I like Ruth Ware. That's just the bottom line. I like her writing. I like her vibes. I like her style. So I had a good enough time in this. I think the actual mystery was pretty lacking. It was definitely not my personal favorite. Let's just put it that way. I think the conclusion, she didn't sell me on it. Let's put it that way. But I had a fun time in this. So I'd give this like 3 stars. Not the best, but totally pleasant way to pass an evening kind of a thing. Then I also ended up reading Heroine Complex last night and I finished it up this morning, and I'm struggling with what to do with this because I think it does what it's trying to do quite well. And what it is trying to do is be very cartoony, be very like lighthearted, rompy. It's meant to be a superhero story. So like the premise is Evie Tanaka is the put upon personal assistant to Evada Jupiter, her childhood best friend and San Francisco's most beloved superheroine. Let's see here. Unfortunately, she's not nearly as together when it comes to running her own life, standing up for herself, or raising her tempestuous younger sister, B. But everything changes when Evie's forced to pose as her glamorous boss for one night and her darkest secret comes out. She has powers too. So Evie also has superhero powers, and this is a world where like that's a thing. And she has like these fire powers that she's always been really afraid of. Like it's got some like traumatic origins for her. And so this is like about her kind of like coming into her own power. There's also a big bad running around named Shasta. She also has like a romance going with one of their like coworkers, Nate, who's like this doctor. So I was expecting this to be much more like a sci-fi romance, or like a romance with speculative elements. That was kind of what I was expecting. And I would say that this reads more like chick lit with romance that is superhero. So I think it's doing what it's trying to do pretty well. So if you're looking for something really lighthearted and really, it's got very over the top sort of like cartoony kind of vibes to it, but I think that's what it's going for. That just wasn't quite what I was wanting from it. I was wanting it to be a little bit more of an actual, feeling more like a romance, and I wasn't expecting it to be quite so sort of like over the top. So it just didn't quite give me what I was wanting from this kind of story, but I think it met its own goals pretty well. And I could definitely see that if you got invested in this, I think that this is a series. So I could definitely see why people would potentially want to continue in the series, because I think it's, like I said, I'm being repetitious, but it is meeting its own objectives very well. And if you were into those objectives, I think you'd like this book. For me, just okay. Just not, exactly what I was hoping for, but 3 stars still pretty good. So I've now read everything the kitty cat's picked out for me. So I think it's time to wrap it up and announce our winner. Alrighty, so we have finished this vlog, which I have to tell you, I got through in like record time. I think I did this whole vlog in a week, which is not normally the case. I think that is indicative of the fact that I picked books that sounded good for me in the moment. And so I think that really helped. I need to just learn this lesson that if I can find, because I enjoy challenges, I enjoy things like this, if I can find ways to do that incorporates mood reading, it's a win for me almost every time. So all that to say, this was a big success, and I would definitely do this again if if you guys enjoyed this concept, if you enjoy all the gratuitous kitty footage that I felt free to include, let me know. But I really enjoyed this, and I think that this was a big success. So I'm gonna say that I enjoyed all of these books. I liked two, there was definitely an upper tier and a lower tier. So the upper tier was definitely the first two I read, so She Come By It Natural and The Fixer, and then the bottom two were definitely Heroine Complex and In a Dark, Dark Wood. But I didn't have a bad time in any of these books, so that, good job, kitty cats. They know their mother very well. If I'm doing a forced ranking, starting from the bottom and making my way up, I would say Heroine Complex was my least favorite, just because it wasn't quite what I was wanting from it, but it was a good version of what it was. So I feel weird critiquing it. It just wasn't what I was hoping for. So we've got that. I would say next is In a Dark, Dark Wood. Again, perfectly enjoyable. I had a good enough time in this. Not the strongest Ruth Ware that I've read, but it did confirm for me, I just like her. So I think I'm gonna try to read all of her backlist because her vibes, she's very Christie-esque, I think, as insofar as one can be Christie-esque in today's world. She's pretty darn close. I can't tell this was a real mistake organizing the books this way, but what can we do? Second to the top, I would say She Come By It Natural by About Dolly Parton by Sarah Smarsh. Really thoughtful book. Really made me contemplate Dolly Parton's role in our culture and kind of her relationship to cultural forces that have worked on us in the last, I don't know, 50 years, and why she is such an icon. I don't know, this was really, really thoughtful, and I think a nice variant of a biography. So I think that this was a really good incorporation of personal essay and biographical, you know, kind of components. And then finally, definitely the big winner was The Fixer by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This, yeah, was absolutely fantastic. Just, it's the kind of YA political thriller I would want to read. And Jennifer Lynn Barnes just continues to prove that she is just an author that I'm really, really into. So this was my 5-star pick. Definitely the big success. I've already got The Long Game, which is the sequel, on my TBR shelf because I'm definitely gonna finish up this little duology. So that is the ranking of how I felt about these books. And as you can see, since this and this were Marple's picks and this were Hastings' pick, Marple is the winner. She won this particular TBR challenge. Maybe if I do it again, Hastings will have a shot.
Hi, buddy. You the loser. You the loser. You know that? But I still love you. You the loser. You the winner. Hey, you won. Yeah? You excited? Yeah, you win.
So that was my Cats Pick My TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed filming it. Let me know what you thought of any of the books I talked about. If you would like to leave compliments for my kitties, I will happily pass that along to them. And yeah, I think that will do it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below. Oh, including a link to the glasses that I'm wearing if you're interested. And yeah, that will wrap it up for me. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!